Diversity of thought is a good thing. It's one of the things that sets us apart from our friends on the other side of the aisle. Yes, diversity of thought is a good thing. But they want us divided. They want us to fight each other. That much has been made clear by the popcorn and blankets and alcohol that is coming over there. The House is not in order. The House is not in order.
Get some order in there.
The clerk would ask all members-elect to abide by the established decorum of the House while making nominations.
Gentlewoman's recognized.
Gentlewoman is recognized.
As evidenced by my colleagues' actions, so today I am asking my friends and colleagues, are we the party of Reagan Republicans? Reagan, who said, someone who is with me 80% of the time is a loyal and good friend, not a 20% traitor. Are we the party of Reagan? That is the question that I ask you to answer as we embark on this next ballot. It's upon us to remain a nation of equal opportunity, not equal outcome. That is what is on the line here today, and that is why I am nominating Kevin McCarthy, and I humbly ask for your support. Madam Clerk, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California rise?
Madam Clerk, I rise to nominate Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House, the lead vote getter in the last 5 rounds.
The gentleman is recognized.
Madam Clerk, Democrats are united behind a speaker who will build safer communities. He's a leader in gun violence prevention. He has worked to make our criminal justice system more fair, more equitable, and more effective, and he's done it working with both sides of the aisle. A leader who has a track record in actually getting things done. And he understands that public safety, public health, and economic opportunity must go hand in hand. That's why, at the direction of the Democratic caucus, I advance the name of Hakeem Jeffries from Brooklyn, New York, as our next Speaker for the 118th Congress.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania rise?
Madam Speaker, to nominate the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Donalds.
The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what your political persuasion, one thing is universally recognized across this country. Washington is broken. Washington is completely broken. Whether it's a wide open border, millions of people streaming across, terrorists, criminals, fentanyl coming right to your community, not at the border, but into your community. Overdoses happening in your towns, funerals happening in your town because the border's open, because this place is broken. 12 days ago, in the middle of the night, 4,000 pages showed up over here, 1.7 trillion dollars in spending, 7,200 earmarks, 24 hours time to read it, like a Christmas tree right before Christmas, that nobody outside of this town wanted. If you've been here for 1 year, you voted on that once. If you've been here for 3 years, you voted on the same thing 3 times. If you've been here for 10 years, you voted on it 10 times. Washington is broken. We got crime running across the streets, no matter what community you're in, because now this town has decided that somehow the criminals aren't understood, and we've abandoned the victims. This is what people in our country are dealing with. We are funding wars in other countries while we're destroying our own military because this town is broken. We have an administration that has contempt for the American people and is using these big corporations to spy on Americans and using the instruments of federal power to persecute and prosecute them because this town is broken. And this place is literally broken. There hasn't been an amendment on the floor for 6 years in this town. So if you're not on the committee of jurisdiction, but it affects your citizens, well, too bad for you. You just vote yes or you just vote no. That's not how this place was designed to be. We vote on bills that have all kinds of things that have nothing to do with the bill itself. Everybody came here because they said to their constituents, this town is broken, and I want to fix it. Well, how are you going to fix it if you come to this town and just step right in line and keep doing the same things that everybody has done before you? It's not going to fix it, and the American people know it. And I would say this. I think the person that has done the most to make this fabulous, this wonderful Republican majority is Speaker Pelosi and her policies. That's what has achieved this majority over here because the American people are sick and tired of it, and they've had enough of it. Now, this is not about personalities. It's not about personalities. It's about the policies that come out of here. This is not about personalities on this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle. We believe, and we want to believe, and we want to believe that every person that comes here, left, right, center, has the best intentions for our country. The best intentions for our country. And it's not about the personalities in this contest. It is not personal for us. But because we all acknowledge and we all know that Washington is broken, we must take a new path. There must be a new vision so that Congress works for the American people. Because the American people are watching what's happening here, and they've watched what's happened here, and they're sure in their hearts, and they can prove it, that this town works for this town. That's who this town is working for. Ladies and gentlemen, we are making history today. We are making history in this process. And we are showing the American people that this process works. Yeah, it's been about 100 years. It's been about 100 years since this has happened before. But we have said we're not going to take any more of Washington being broken. We're going to do something for the American people, and we're going to fix it. And is it going to be painful? And is it going to be difficult? Yeah, it probably is. That's why it took 100 years. It probably is. But we're going to do it. And we can also make history today by making the first...
Will the House be in order?
By electing the first Black Republican Speaker of the House. Yes, thank you. Now, as my colleagues probably know, the first Black members of Congress to serve in this body were Republicans. As a matter of fact, you probably also know that Frederick Douglass, who went and worked with Abraham Lincoln to emancipate the people of color in this country, said he would never be anything but a Republican, I am here to nominate Byron Donalds because he has accomplished many things. He is a man of faith. He is a family man. He is a businessman, and he is a man of community service. He's come from the School of Hard Knocks. because not all outcomes in life are equal, but America is the place where we can each do great things regardless of our humble beginnings, each one of us. Now, Byron is a product of single family where it's not easy. It's not easy. But he has succeeded in America, and that's a testament to what we have created here and what we're trying to save. He's got a record of accomplishing things. He has a record of being on the right side. He is respected, he is trusted, he is capable, and he achieves results. Now, Byron has a big mind, and he's big in stature as well. He's very nice, but I will tell you this, in the negotiation with Chuck Schumer, I sure will want to be on the other side of Byron Donalds. He knows who he is, he knows what his foundation is, and he knows that Washington is broken, and what Chuck Schumer sends over here isn't going to work out for the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, Washington is broken. Byron Donalds will inspire us and restore our citizens' faith that this institution actually works for them. And it is my highest honor to nominate the gentleman from Florida, Byron Donalds, to be the next Speaker of the House, and I yield.
The reading clerk will call the roll.
Adams. Jeffries. Adderholt. McCarthy. Aguilar. Jeffries. Alford. McCarthy. Allen. McCarthy. Allred. Jeffries. Amodei. McCarthy. Armstrong. McCarthy. Arrington. McCarthy. Auchincloss. Jeffries. Babin. McCarthy. Bacon. McCarthy. Baird. McCarthy. Balderson. McCarthy. Balance. Jeffries. Banks. McCarthy. Barr. McCarthy. Beragan. Jeffries. Bean of Florida.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Beatty. Jeffries. Bentz. McCarthy. Barra. Jeffries. Bergman. Bergman. Beyer. Jeffries. Bice. McCarthy. Biggs. Donalds. Bilirakis. McCarthy. Bishop of Georgia. Jeffries. Bishop of North Carolina. Donalds. Blumenauer. Jeffries. Blunt Rochester. Jeffries. Boebert. Boebert. Donalds. Bonamici. Jeffries. Bast. Bast. McCarthy. Bowman. Jeffries. Boyle of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Burkeen. Donalds. Brown. Jeffries. Brownlee. Jeffries. Buchanan. McCarthy. Buck. Buck. Bouchon. McCarthy. Budzinski. Jeffries. Burchett. McCarthy. Burgess. McCarthy. Burleson. McCarthy. Bush. Jeffries. Calvert. McCarthy. Kamick. McCarthy. Caraveo. Jeffries. Carbajal. Jeffries. Cardenas. Jeffries. Carey. McCarthy. Carl. McCarthy. Carson. Jeffries. Carter of Georgia. McCarthy. Carter of Louisiana. Jeffries. Carter of Texas. McCarthy. Cartwright. Jeffries. Kassar. Jeffries. Case. Jeffries. Caston. Jeffries. Castor of Florida. Jeffries. Castro of Texas. Jeffries. Chavez DeReamer. McCarthy. Shearfillis McCormick. Jeffries. Chu. Jeffries. Cicilline. Jeffries. Siscomani. McCarthy. Clark of Massachusetts. Jeffries. Clark of New York. Jeffries. Cleaver. Jeffries. Klein. McCarthy. Cloud. Donalds. Clyburn. Jeffries. Clyde. Donalds. Cohen. Jeffries. Cole. McCarthy. Collins. McCarthy. Comer. McCarthy. Connolly. Jeffries. Correa. Jeffries. Costa. Jeffries. Courtney. Jeffries. Craig. Jeffries. Crane. Donalds. Crawford. McCarthy. Crenshaw. McCarthy. Crockett. Jeffries. Crow. Jeffries. Cuellar. Jeffries. Curtis. McCarthy. Davids of Kansas. Jeffries. Davidson. McCarthy. Davis of Illinois. Jeffries. Davis of North Carolina. Jeffries. Dean of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. DeGette. Jeffries. De la Cruz. McCarthy. DeLauro. Jeffries. Del Bene. Jeffries. DeLuzio. Jeffries. DeSaulnier. Jeffries. Desjardins. McCarthy. D'Esposito. McCarthy. Diaz-Balart. McCarthy. Dingle. Jeffries. Doggett. Jeffries. Donalds. Donalds. Duarte. McCarthy. Duncan. McCarthy. Dunn of Florida. McCarthy. Edwards. McCarthy. Elsie. McCarthy. Emmer. McCarthy. Escobar. Jeffries. Eshue. Jeffries. Espaillat. Jeffries. Estes. McCarthy. Evans. Jeffries. Ezell. McCarthy. Fallon.
Fourth District of Texas votes for Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Feenstra. McCarthy. Ferguson. McCarthy. Finstad. McCarthy. Fishbach. McCarthy. Fitzgerald. McCarthy. Fitzpatrick. McCarthy. Fleischman. McCarthy. Fletcher. Jeffries. Flood. McCarthy. Foster. Jeffries. Fushi. Jeffries. Fox. McCarthy. Lois Frankel. Jeffries. C. Scott Franklin. McCarthy. Frost. Jeffries. Fry. McCarthy. Fulcher. McCarthy. Gates. Donalds. Gallagher. McCarthy. Gallego. Gallego. Jeffries. Garamendi. Jeffries. Garbarino. McCarthy. Mike Garcia. McCarthy. Robert Garcia. Jeffries. Garcia of Illinois. Jeffries. Garcia of Texas. Jeffries. Jimenez. McCarthy. Golden of Maine. Jeffries. Goldman of New York. Jeffries. Gomez. Jeffries. Tony Gonzalez. McCarthy. Vicente Gonzalez. Jeffries. Good of Virginia. Donalds. Gooden of Texas. McCarthy. Gosar. Donalds. Gottheimer. Jeffries. Granger. McCarthy. Graves of Louisiana. Graves of Louisiana. McCarthy. Graves of Missouri. McCarthy. Green of Tennessee. McCarthy. Green of Texas. Jeffries. Green of Georgia. McCarthy. Griffith. McCarthy. Grijalva. Jeffries. Grothman. McCarthy. Guest. McCarthy. Guthrie. McCarthy. Hageman. McCarthy. Harder of California. Jeffries. Harris. Donalds. Harshbarger. McCarthy. Hayes. Jeffries. Hearn. McCarthy. Higgins of Louisiana. McCarthy. Higgins of New York. Jeffries. Hill. McCarthy. Himes. Jeffries. Henson. McCarthy. Horsford. Jeffries. Houchin. McCarthy. Houlihan. Jeffries. Hoyer. Jeffries. Hoyle of Oregon. Jeffries. Hudson. McCarthy. Huffman. Jeffries. Huizinga. McCarthy. Hunt. McCarthy. Issa. Issa. McCarthy. Ivy. Jeffries. Jackson of Illinois. Jeffries. Jackson of North Carolina. Jeffries. Jackson of Texas. McCarthy. Jackson Lee. Jeffries. Jacobs. Jeffries. James. McCarthy. Jayapal. Jeffries. 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 Johnson of Georgia. Jeffries. Johnson of Louisiana. McCarthy. Johnson of Ohio. McCarthy. Johnson of South Dakota. McCarthy. Jordan. McCarthy. Joyce of Ohio. McCarthy. Joyce of Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Kim Lager Dove. Jeffries. Captor. Jeffries. Kane of New Jersey. McCarthy. Keating. Jeffries. Kelly of Illinois. Jeffries. Kelly of Mississippi. McCarthy. Kelly of Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Khanna. Jeffries. Kiggins of Virginia. McCarthy. Kildee. Jeffries. Kiley. McCarthy. Kilmer. Jeffries. Kim of California. McCarthy. Kim of New Jersey. Jeffries. Krishnamurthy. Jeffries. Custer. Jeffries. Kustoff. McCarthy. LaHood. McCarthy. LaLota. McCarthy. LaMalfa. McCarthy. Lamborn. McCarthy. Landsman. Jeffries. Langworthy. McCarthy. Larson of Washington. Jeffries. Larson of Connecticut. Jeffries. Latta. McCarthy. LaTurner. McCarthy. Lawler. McCarthy. Lee of California. Jeffries. Lee of Florida. Lee of Florida. McCarthy. Lee of Nevada. Jeffries. Lee of Pennsylvania. Jeffries. Ledger Fernandez. Jeffries. Lesko. McCarthy. Letlow. McCarthy. Levin. Jeffries. Liu. Jeffries. Lofgren. Jeffries. Loudermilk. McCarthy. Lucas. McCarthy. Luke Kameyer. McCarthy. Luna. Luna. Donalds. Luttrell. McCarthy. Lynch. Jeffries. Mace. McCarthy. Magaziner. Magaziner. Maliotakis. McCarthy. Mann. McCarthy. Manning. Jeffries. Massey. McCarthy. Mast. McCarthy. Matsui. Jeffries. McBath. Jeffries. McCarthy. McCarthy. McCall. McCarthy. McLean. McCarthy. McClintock. McCarthy. McCullum. Jeffries. McCormick. McCarthy. McGovern. Jeffries. McGarvey. Jeffries. McHenry. McHenry. McCarthy. Meeks. Jeffries. Menendez. Jeffries. Mang. Jeffries. Muser. McCarthy. Mfume. Jeffries. Miller of Illinois. Donalds. Miller of Ohio. Miller of Ohio. Miller of West Virginia. McCarthy. Miller Meeks. McCarthy. Mills. McCarthy. Molinaro. McCarthy. Molinar. McCarthy. Mooney. McCarthy. Moore of Alabama. McCarthy. Moore of Utah. McCarthy. Moore of Wisconsin. Jeffries. Moran. McCarthy. Morelli. Jeffries. Moskowitz. Jeffries. Moulton. Jeffries. Mervan. Jeffries. Mullen. Jeffries. Murphy. McCarthy. Nadler. Jeffries. Napolitano. Jeffries. Neal. Jeffries. Nagoose. Jeffries. Nails. McCarthy. Newhouse. McCarthy. Nickel. Jeffries. Norcross. Jeffries. Norman. Donalds. None of Iowa. McCarthy. Obernolte. McCarthy. Ocasio-Cortez. Jeffries. Ogles. Donalds. Omar. Jeffries. Owens. McCarthy. Pallone. Jeffries. Palmer. McCarthy. Panetta. Jeffries. Pappas. Jeffries. Pascrell. Jeffries. Payne. Jeffries. Pelosi. Jeffries. Peltola. Jeffries. Pence. McCarthy. Perez. Jeffries. Perry. Donalds. Peters. Jeffries. Pedersen. Jeffries. Pfluger. McCarthy. Phillips. Jeffries. Pingree. Jeffries. Pocan. Pocan. Jeffries. Porter. Jeffries. Posey. McCarthy. Presley. Jeffries. Quigley. Jeffries. Ramirez. Jeffries. Raskin. Jeffries. Reschenthaler. McCarthy. Rogers of Washington. McCarthy. Rogers of Alabama. McCarthy. Rogers of Kentucky. McCarthy. Rose. McCarthy. Rosendale. Donalds. Ross. Jeffries. Rouser. McCarthy. Roy. Donalds. Ruiz. Jeffries. Rupersberger. Jeffries. Rutherford.
Kevin McCarthy.
McCarthy. Ryan. Jeffries. Salazar. Salazar. McCarthy. McCarthy. Salinas. Jeffries. Sanchez. Jeffries. Santos. McCarthy. Sarbanes. Jeffries. Scalise. McCarthy. Scanlon. Jeffries. Schakowsky. Jeffries. Schiff. Jeffries. Schneider. Jeffries. Skolton. Jeffries. Schreier. Jeffries. Schweikert. McCarthy. Scott. Austin Scott. McCarthy. David Scott. Jeffries. Scott of Virginia. Jeffries. Self. Donalds. Sessions. McCarthy. Sewell. Jeffries. Sherman. Jeffries. Sherrill. Sherrill. Simpson. McCarthy. Slotkin. Jeffries. Smith of Missouri. Smith of Missouri. Smith of Nebraska. McCarthy. Smith of New Jersey. McCarthy. Smith of Washington. Jeffries. Smucker. McCarthy. Sorensen. Jeffries. Soto. Jeffries. Spanberger. Jeffries. Sparts. Sparts. Sansbury. Stansbury. Jeffries. Stanton. Jeffries. Stauber. McCarthy. Steele. McCarthy. Stefanik. McCarthy. Stile. McCarthy. Stubbe. McCarthy. Stevens. Jeffries. Stewart. McCarthy. Strickland. Jeffries. Strong. McCarthy. Swalwell. Jeffries. Sykes. Jeffries. Takano. Takano. Jeffries. Tenney. Tenney. McCarthy. Tanadar. Jeffries. Thompson of California. Jeffries. Thompson of Mississippi. Jeffries. Thompson of Pennsylvania. McCarthy. Tiffany. McCarthy. Timmons. McCarthy. Titus. Jeffries. Talib. Jeffries. Takuda. Jeffries. Tonko. Jeffries. Torres of California. Jeffries. Torres of New York. Jeffries. Trahan. Jeffries. Trone. Jeffries. Turner. Turner. McCarthy. Underwood. Jeffries. Valadeo. McCarthy. Van Drew. McCarthy. Van Dyne. McCarthy. Van Orden. McCarthy. Vargas. Jeffries. Vasquez. Jeffries. Vesey. Jeffries. Velasquez. Jeffries. Wagner. McCarthy. Wahlberg. McCarthy. Waltz. Waltz. Wasserman Schultz. Jeffries. Waters. Jeffries. Watson Coleman. Jeffries. Weber of Texas. McCarthy. Webster of Florida. McCarthy. Winstrup. McCarthy. Westerman. McCarthy. Wexton. Jeffries. Wild. Jeffries. Williams of Georgia. Jeffries. Williams of New York. McCarthy. Williams of Texas. McCarthy. Wilson of Florida. Jeffries. Wilson of South Carolina. McCarthy. Whitman. McCarthy. Womack. McCarthy. Yacom. McCarthy. Zinke. McCarthy.
The reading clerk will now call the names of the members-elect who did not answer the first call of the roll.
Bergman. McCarthy. Buck. Buck. McCarthy. Magaziner. Jeffries. Miller of Ohio. McCarthy. Cheryl. Jeffries. Smith of Missouri. McCarthy. Sparks. Present. Waltz. McCarthy.
The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 433, of which the Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the State of New York has received 212. The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the State of California has received 201. The Honorable Byron Donalds of the State of Florida has received 20. With one member as present. No member-elect having received the majority of the votes cast, a speaker has not been elected. For what purpose does the gentleman from Oklahoma rise?
I move that we adjourn until 8 o'clock this evening.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Motion's adopted.
The motion is adopted.
Is a member demanding the ayes and nays?
Is a member demanding the ayes and nays?
Okay, motion is adopted.
The motion is adopted.
House stands adjourned until 8.
The House stands adjourned until 8 p.m. tonight.